All right, Mandalorian breakdown, chapter 15, Jeff Lowe, KenJac, Robbie Fox. First off, spoilers, get out of here. Get out of it if you haven't seen it. What are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? Bill Burr fans and Star Wars fans, you haven't watched the episode, get on out of here. It's the Bill Burr episode. Got a lot of Bill Burr to get to. He was the star of the episode. We loved him last season, but he wasn't the star of the episode. He was the star of this episode. Penultimate, second to last episode. This was an unexpected episode, I think, for what we got. Last year, the second to last episode was basically a two-parter. This one, not so much. This one definitely set up the finale at the end, but we got kind of another like standalone cool adventure where I thought we might have a bit of a bigger cliffhanger. I like what we got here. This was another fucking awesome ride. It's just, again, they continue to just have fun with Star Wars. And it's such a breath of fresh air. They've just announced a billion new projects, and you hope, that was my main takeaway. Disney just announced a ton of new Disney Plus and movie Star Wars things. Make them fun like this. That's all you got to do. Even if they stink, and I guarantee you one of them is going to suck ass. There's going to be one that stinks. You just know it. Make it fun. That's all people want. They just want fun. What did you guys think about this episode?
I mean, I loved it. I'm obviously a huge Bill Burr fan, huge Star Wars fan, duh. But they had a lot of work to do with Mayfeld last season where they had to redeem him for me because, hey, he was throwing Baby Yoda around like he was a fucking football. He was like, oh, I'm going to drop him. Look, I'm going to drop him. This episode, they got me. I like Mayfeld now. I like the guy. Bill Burr did a great job with the comedy. He did a great job with the serious stuff. I thought Rick FAMUYIWA, I don't know if I'm saying his last name right.
Rick FAMUYIWA?
Whatever his last name is. He did a great job again. So I really enjoyed this episode start to finish, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of great character development in this episode. Like you said, Bill Burr now becomes a three-dimensional villain as opposed to a one-dimensional one. You get more backstory on him and some great acting, great dramatic acting from Bill Burr, which we've seen some of in King of Staten Island. Dude,
yeah, big year for him with some dramatic moments.
Yeah, he's really fucking killing it lately. And Mandalorian, you also get to see a little bit of character development, like the lengths at which he's willing to like kind of make concessions to his culture now, like as far as taking off his helmet, as far as taking off his armor, doing all these things just because he wants to get back Baby Yoda that much. That's all amazing. This is, I think, the first episode we ever have with zero Baby Yoda. Period. Is it not?
I noticed that.
I didn't even think of that. That should confirm that it was a solid episode. I had not. This is the second time we attempted recording this because I had mic issues in the first one. This is the first moment I actually thought to myself, we did not see Baby Yoda. That's crazy.
No Baby Yoda in this episode at all. And I think that's the first time in the entire series that we haven't had Baby Yoda, which is insane to think about. And we're still entertained from start to finish. Great action. Reminds me a lot of some previous Filoni work, especially from Clone Wars. But we could talk more about those comparisons when we get to them.
Big character episode, KenJac. I think you nailed kind of the biggest point. This is an episode where character development is king. Let's get into it. New crew. There's a new crew that is now on this prison planet, led by Cara Dune, and they are releasing Mayfeld. We see Mayfeld. He's working in a TIE fighter scrapyard. We have not seen something quite like that before. A scrapyard of all old TIE fighters. This robot bothers him. He's like, "Come on, you got to come with me." And he's like, God, I'm a fucking prisoner. Like, what more shit do you need me to do here? And finds out that he's being released by Cara Dune. And as they go over to Boba Fett's ship, Slave One, Boba Fett walks out in the most pristine we've ever seen the Boba Fett armor.
What do we think? Do we think he painted it, or do we think he just like power washed it? What did he do?
He waxed that. He waxed and power buffed that with do you know the thing the janitor would use after school? The giant fucking power wax thing. That's what he used on that sucker.
I just imagine them like being late for their trip because he's like, hold on, a little more.
To flex my smudge on this.
Yes. But he's like, I thought you were someone else for a second. Said Mayfeld, then pops out Mando, and he's like, motherfucker. But he finds out that Cara Dune's really the only one that doesn't like him, and that they need him. They need him to track down Moff Gideon's ship. We go on to Slave One. We go on to Boba Fett's ship, which we will get to all the Easter eggs in Slave One. We'll save those. Because there's a couple moments that were for big fucking nerds like us. You just love to see it. But they're on the ship. Bill Burr informs them that they need an internal Imperial terminal to track Moff Gideon's ship. He says not easy to find. The whole task in general is not easy, but said that there's one on a place called Morak. There's some contention. They're like, oh no, there's nothing there. He said, trust me, there's a secret base led by the ISB, Imperial Security Bureau, who KenJac, I know you've often called them. They're basically
They're the Gestapo. They're the Gestapo of the Imperials.
They're real. They're tough cookies in the Star Wars universe. So they say, hey, guys, set your course for Morak, and as they're flying into Morak, we see it's a refinery that they have to infiltrate, and then we get taken down to the planet, and they're scoping things out. A lot of funny back and forth moments in this, and references and kind of like Star Wars lore. They end up deciding that Mando and Mayfeld are going to be the one that infiltrate the refinery, and they're going to ride in one of those big juggernauts, which have developed over the years. They used to be driven by the clones, and now they're just driven by the Imperial. But this one's like a fucking train, basically. So they're gonna infiltrate one of these things. Boba, this was part of like an Easter egg, but I'll say it now. Boba, they say, why doesn't Boba Fett go? And he says something. He said, like, something tells me, or I'm thinking they might recognize my face, which is, I love. It's a quick little nod. Obviously, they'd be like, hey, that's the Stormtrooper guy. That guy looks like half the Stormtroopers. I don't know how many clones are still around anymore at this time. So they decide that that's what they're going to do. Cara Dune jumps into the tank, knocks him out, and then she leaves. She's like, hey, Fennec, Shand, and I will be ready to go when you guys need to be extracted. So they're putting on their armor and stuff. They got to drive this big truck that's carrying this explosive called Rhydinium. Is that what Rhydinium, so. Right?
Yeah, it's an explosive gas or fuel of some sort.
Right, Rhydonium, I think. I just know it's been in Clone Wars and Rebels plenty of times before. Yeah. It's been around in Star Wars. So I thought it was funny. Mayfeld's putting on Stormtrooper armor. He's like, he's basically saying it smells like shit, which we haven't. It's these little. Basically, Bill Burr was told, here's your Star Wars stuff, but also be Bill Burr. And he added, it fit. It's crazy that it works, but it works because he's just Bill Burr. He's Star Wars Bill Burr.
Him doing his entire stand-up routine to an expressionless Mando who refuses to acknowledge him whatsoever was so funny. Like, just keeps like edging him on, and like he just is like, I'm not answering you. I'm just not entertaining
like,
this.
These gloves are still damp when he was putting them on. Like, it reminded me of like when you're putting on your hockey gloves after practice. And you're like, oh, these are a little gross now. Yeah.
It's one thing for him just to be there and just like be the face, Bill Burr, as he acts like us. But they're like, no, you got to be Bill Burr. Because he has a couple of comments when they're about to load in and drive off. He says, Mandalorian, well, they dress up in I should add that they dress up in Stormtrooper armor after Cara Dune knocks out the actual Stormtroopers. They're Juggernaut troopers. And Mando's wearing it. He's got his bag of Mandalorian gear. And Bill Burr, Mayfeld's like, well, what would they say on Mandalore if they saw this? And just taunting him back and forth. Then as he gets in, he says goodbye to Cara Dune. And he's like, it's a shame you're not coming with us. You've got such a sunny disposition. I can't imagine how fun you'd be in one of these. And it's just so, again, it's so perfect, Bill Burr, and I give them credit for that because they could have just thrown Bill Burr in here and made him Bill Burr fucking Star Wars guy, but they made him like be his actual person, like why people like him as a comedic actor as well. Played really well. But as you said, they have conversations on the way, so they're driving this big thing. A ton of stuff. This is again where a lot of the character development kind of takes place and begins. Mayfield mentions, Empire versus New Republic stuff. He's like, look, they pass civilians. He's like, it's all the same to them, right? They're just being ruled by people. He said,
Last Jedi vibes there.
Yes, yeah. He said, if you're born on Mandalore or Alderaan, it doesn't matter. Neither of them exist anymore. He goes, I'm just a survivor. We're a lot alike, Mando. Man, it's like, I don't know about that. But Mayfield kind of fights back. And he's like, look, even you. He says this. He says, your rules start to change and you get desperate. He goes, look, you're wearing a Stormtrooper suit now. And this is kind of the big question I think we've been building up to all season, and that we got addressed here big time, but I think we'll see even more so in the finale. He said, what's the rule? Is it you can't take off your Mando helmet or you can't show your face? Like it's like one or the other, because you're wearing the Stormtrooper helmet, like armor now, and you were hesitant about that. So a lot of questions have been brought up for Mando over the course of the season, whether Bo-Katan, basically saying that you're a fucking weirdo, like you're like weirdo Mando, like nobody likes.
Like, oh, you're one of those.
And Boba too.
Boba Fett, who was a ton about honor, but doesn't view the same things that Mando might. And then this one, obviously, Mayfield kind of going right for the heart. He's calling him out. He's like, you're bullshit, man. Like all your shit's weak. That's basically what he says to him. He's like, I don't believe
Mando just like stuff. Looking forward, not acknowledging it. He's just like, I can't believe I'm in a fucking cockpit with this asshole.
So they're driving through, then all of a sudden they hear over the radio that the other juggernauts are having issues getting to the refinery, and then one just blows up and there's pirates. And so these pirates start attacking the juggernauts. And so Mando does his Mando thing. He's like, I'm going to go up top, but obviously he does not have Beskar anymore. And we actually see that he gets hit with one of the staffs of the pirates, and the thing just shatters.
Just disintegrates.
Into 1,000 pieces.
So Mando, he's fighting him. He's doing all his cool fucking Din Djarin
Something
shit.
I noticed here, he's shooting them, right? And this blaster runs out of ammo, obviously. And I think that's the first time I've ever seen a blaster run out of ammo in Star Wars. Like just someone
makes
holding
like the
a non-cartridge one.
like that.
Yeah. Like the overheat sound.
And then he just throws it at him.
Fuck.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, like the guy in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, he gives him the old throw. He actually takes a spear and spears someone at one point. That was an awesome kill. Again, I
felt like they were like setting up like, hey, he's starting to get better at using a spear for some reason. Like when he starts using the Beskar spear, they're showing he's got some training in this.
Definitely better at melee. And also, these are like the world's worst pirates, and I don't even think they are pirates, because if they were pirates, they'd be trying to steal the gas. They're just blowing it up.
Terrible pirates.
They're probably just like mad that they're on, their planet. They're like, get off our planet. We want to blow you guys up.
I mean, that's what the new I guess eventual First Order, the Empire, they're there just to pillage their shit and leave, I guess. So now they're trying to put thermal detonators on the Rhydonium, which I should have looked at the pronunciation for, and that's a major. Watched it twice and I still forgot. Mando takes one, throws it, it blows up, kills some more pirates. They just keep coming. It's like a video game. You want a video game? Mm-hmm. This is like a video game. They just kept coming in droves. And it looks like it's over. I actually, for a second, I was like, how is he going to get out of it? I actually thought, when they all start
igniting the thermal detonators.
That was right. They're ready.
So what are we doing here?
Yeah, they're ready to throw them. They look like some like a group from like the West Side Story too. Like they're just all kind of like
rocks.
They're just like snapping. They got and I don't know what he's about to do. Like he's about to brace for it.
Punch the fucking thermal detonators out of midair. I don't know what he was trying.
And then all of a sudden, bang! Green lasers fly in. TIE fighters save the day, which is such a different. It's so weird to see, but you're rooting for TIE fighters at that point.
First time ever. Yeah, we're like, thank God the TIE fighters are here.
Bill Burr gives out a fantastic Star Wars like woo and yell. TIE fighters flying, Mandalorian music blaring. They save the day. Then shore troopers and some stormtroopers come in and they finish off the rest of the pirates. And they're being applauded. They drive the Juggernaut in. They're being saluted. Bill Burr, Mayfield even says, never thought you'd be happy to see stormtroopers before. It was some cool action. And again, it was weird. You're like, oh, gotta root for the Imperials here a little bit. Like, I guess that's kind of how this works. So they're inside. Mayfield tracks down the terminal, but as he goes in, he spots an officer, a pretty high up officer. Valen Hess is his name, who he said he served under at one point. You may recognize him. We'll get to that in Easter eggs. But he said, look, I can't do this. He goes, I know this person. This is not going to work out. We gotta abort mission. Like, I don't want to get recognized. It's not worth it. Mando says, no, this needs to be done. We can't get Grogu if we don't do this. He goes in. It requires a face scan. He's got the data stick, all of that, and then he takes his head. There it is. He takes his helmet off.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he tried it for the first time with the helmet on.
Yeah, just in case.
I mean, maybe it'll work. I don't know.
Just in case. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So he takes. Yeah, he looks so like he looks uncomfortable. He's like, oh god damn it. I guess someone can see my face now. He gets he's, by the way, looking awkward as hell, and it's so obvious. He could not have approached that mess hall more awkwardly.
Very bad at stealth, which is understandable considering he walks around in Beskar every day.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, when people get anxiety, they say, like, picture the audience in underwear. And then in every movie, there's always, like, the trope where they picture themselves in underwear. It was like that's what Mandalorian saw himself as. He saw himself walking in like, underwear.
He was walking through, like, Nathan Fielder or something, one of his sketches, just, like, awkwardly, like, marching to the thing. It was so funny.
So... the Valen Hess, the Imperial, gets up. He's like, "Are you shitting me, dude?" It's like, "What? Come here." He's like, "Come over here." Like, who are you? What's your deal? All that. And Mayfeld, clearly, again, a little development of his character, big redemptive arc. He swoops in and he's like, "Hey, I know this guy. He's like, you can't hear too well, like something from another fight kind of impaired his
pressurized,
hearing."
I think he said.
Yeah,
brown eyes.
Yeah, you got to speak up. He goes,
brown eyes.
"What's your name?" He's like, we just call him Brown Eyes. And as they're leaving, the Valen Hess, the officer's like, "No, hold on, I didn't dismiss you." And he said, "Let's have a drink. Like, you're the only crew that made it through today. Let's go have a drink." So they sit down, and now we get some tension. We actually had one of our listeners, Lights Camera Barstool, noted, had some Inglourious Bastards bar vibes to it too.
There's like Old West, like Inglorious
It was very
Bastard
Old West,
pays, that pays homage to Old West shit, and that's very much what that felt like.
So very saloon, like sitting down at the bar, like you can tell you just tell something's not right with Mayfeld. Like this guy's got demons. He hates the Empire, even though he was an Imperial for a while. And he references Operation Cinder, which we will explain in a moment. I know we had a lot of questions. This is mostly a book, the Aftermath series and Battlefront 2, the video game reference. We will explain that. He said, I was a survivor of BURNIN, which is a planet. He said Operation Cinder, which was a very brutal event that took place with the Empire following the death of Emperor Palpatine. It was a failsafe, essentially. A failsafe to wipe out not just like the good guys, but everybody. So nobody became more powerful than the Empire. It was, again, a failsafe from the Emperor, and Valen Hest, as officer, was clearly high up enough where he didn't have to wipe himself out. And he wiped out a lot of Mayfeld's friends, and that's clearly why Mayfeld left the Empire. And they kind
5
of
to 10,000, which is like, oh my God, we're talking huge numbers there.
And he's laughing it all off. He's like, I had to make some tough calls, but they're all eating shit in their grave, and we're alive, so we survived.
Yeah, he's like, we did survive. And he goes, and now the New Republic's in disarray. And he says, everybody thinks they want freedom, but what they really want is order. And at that point, I actually didn't think he was going to shoot him, but he does.
He does. I did not think that at all. Yeah,
he shoots him out of his chair. They take a little liberties. They go for the laugh instead of the immediate shootout of like the officers like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's a shootout, and they say we got to get out of here. So they break out of the mess hall, out of the window, overlooking this big waterfall. Troopers trying to shoot like underneath the windows, but then all of a sudden.
So funny.
I tell you what, we haven't really seen sniper scenes quite like this in Star Wars. Cara Dune and Fennec Shand. We kind of got it when we first met Fennec Shand, but like this is fucking awesome. They're just sniping them off left and right, the stormtroopers, as Mayfeld and Mando are escaping up the ladder. Mando had his helmet back on. Mayfeld's like, look, we all had to do what we had to do. Then Boba Fett is called in. Boba Fett flies in. Awesome Slave One scene. Does the fucking the swivel, maneuvers down. I actually thought Mayfeld was not going to make the jump. Mayfeld and Mando jump off the building.
Yeah, they kind of telegraphed that. I thought that as well, because he's not going to make it, and Mando's going to have to save him.
Yeah, I thought
the arm grab. Yeah,
I thought it may not happen. He jumps onto the ship. All the stormtroopers are dying. They're going to fly off, and then Mayfeld, one last thing, says, "Give me that cycler rifle." Takes the cycler rifle, Boba's, but he obviously got from a Tusken Raider, and blows up the refiner. He shoots the element that they were carrying in the Juggernaut, and saves the day. Kind of wipes everything out. But
very much gives Cara Dune a sense of like, oh, okay, this guy, he hates the Empire as much as we do.
He's good.
We will have to mention an Easter egg here because of all the things.
Yes. So, this part, I got up and went like, fuck yes.
Yes, this is one of KenJac's favorite things in all of Star Wars. And and even if you don't love the prequels, you love the Slave One Kenobi chase scene in Attack of the Clones, which is many call the worst movie. You kind of knew they were going to do the thing, and they did the thing. So Slave One's flying up, 2 TIE fighters chasing it, and the way it is, you're like, he's going to drop the seismic charge, isn't he? And sure enough,
seismic charge, he's going to drop it. So I was just sitting there like, yes, it's going to happen.
Boba dropped, and this is, everyone freaked out. You go on the Star Wars Reddit, that's like the top post, I think, on the episode recap. Like, holy shit, they did the seismic charge. Drop the charge, bang, it goes silent for a second. It was pretty fucking
slices them all in half. It is so cool. And yeah, it did the same thing. They did like the air sucked in, and then
it's
bam.
Hard. It's hard to not fucking nerd crew fanboy out at that one as a Star Wars thing. You're like, all right, they did the thing. It was pretty fucking cool.
The 2 seconds before you hear the sound effect are like the 2 seconds when like a 3-pointer buzzer beater is in the air, and it's like, and then you hear it. It's like, oh, we did it.
Literally, yes.
They're back down on the planet. Mayfeld's like, all right, shackle me back up. Because he was told at the beginning, like, you're going to go back to jail. And Cara Dune's like, no, I don't know. Mayfeld died in that explosion. So she lets him go. And he runs off. I hope he's back at some point because he'd be great to have.
Oh, he's got to be.
Kind of hope he was going to team up with them. But I get we'll probably see him at some other point. So they take off and they send a message out to Moff Gideon. Mando's like, all right, Boba, like, set your course for wherever. And then the last thing we see in this episode is it's Mando essentially replicating Moff Gideon's message to Mando last season about how Grogu, Baby Yoda means more to me than you'll ever know, but he's like, he means more to me than you'll ever know, taunting him like, I'm coming to kick your ass, basically. And there's a little bit of fear in Moff Gideon's eyes, like he's like, ah, shit. Like I can't. It's very like classic old like action or something like this. Like I can't kill the guy. Like they just can't get the good guy down, and so they go after him, and that's how this ends. Moff Gideon knows that Mando is coming for his shit. He's coming for Baby Yoda, who we didn't see once this episode, sets up the finale. But again, a very fun, badass episode. It was not the part 1, part 2 that we expected. And I think if you would have told me that going into today, I might have been bummed out. But this was awesome. The only thing this made me disappointed for is like, give me 2 or 3 more missions. Like, give me 2 go pick up more people. Yeah. But I'm not complaining. It just made me disappointed again. We only get 8 of these things.
I know it's so bittersweet. Like we have 1 left.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's so amazing. I want this like every week for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's exactly. I think that's part of, which I get. That's part of the complaints of people. They don't love that it is very like episodic. It's the old school Flash Gordon like serial type thing, right? Like little adventures, kind of larger overarching story plot, but it's a little adventures and side quests along the way. That's easier to stomach when there are a ton of them. So I do get that viewpoint for some people. Like I wish there were more, and I hope maybe next season they do 12. That'd be great because you keep doing these. I like the little things like that. It's just fucking fun.
Let me ask you guys this, because I got a text from Hank this morning, and he said filler episodes, and he put a bunch of lesser signs. I don't think he liked today's episode. Would you guys consider this a filler? Because I feel like it was a side mission, but I don't think it was filler. We like advanced characters. We advanced the plot. We got Moff Gideon's ship location. We got a threat to Moff Gideon. I very much did get the sense when it was over that it was a filler.
I think his point is like it is advancing the main quest line, if you want to call it that. Like you're completely correct. I think what he's saying is like we're not immediately having him confronting Moff Gideon or getting back Baby Yoda. Now it's a filler episode, and I understand the viewpoint, but I also don't agree because I think that this episode in its own right is amazing. Like you said, incredible character development for 2 main characters now in the series, and it was important for the overarching story, right? Yeah. And I think it's cool. It's cool fight scenes, man.
Yeah, no, I think it is
a filler episode. That's the fly.
I think it is. It's important for Mando. Like you had to reach this point. A concern of mine. I didn't want him to reach it like during the battle against Moff Gideon. Yeah. Like I think him resolving it ahead of time is only going to help the story. No, I again, this was another awesome. I don't know where we should probably rank the episodes next week. I don't know where I'd place it with.
Oh yeah, we should.
I'm enjoying the ride, as they say. And then maybe we'll do a more definitive ranking. Next week. But let's get into some Easter eggs here. We'll explain Operation Cinder and Burning KONN a little more. Again, that was from the Aftermath book series. So the thing that Mayfield is referencing at the table was an event that the Empire, like a week or 2 or some days after the Battle of Endor and Return of the Jedi, carried out. The higher-ups, where they just eviscerated planets. They didn't blow them up like the Death Star, but they had like they created cataclysmic like weather events and like electromagnetic shit would just it was crazy. They basically wiped out as much as they could, and that meant wiping out the Empire as well. They just allowed them to die because they wanted to make sure the Emperor did. His failsafe was that if he ever died, the Empire would never grow as strong without him. And so
the thought process was it's kind of like sowing or salting the earth or whatever. It's like if these resources can't be used by the rebellion or now the New Galactic Republic, like we can now find new places to find resources and come back to the way we were. And a lot of the cataclysmic stuff you get to see, I think, in Battlefront 2. Like there's a mission where, as part of this, you help set up this big, like you said, Jeff, like this cataclysm weather satellite thing that destroys this planet that's entirely loyal to the Empire. And like that's what kind of like swings the character's sort of disposition against the Empire, because like why are we killing people loyal to us? And like what was the point of that? Why are we doing this?
I have a small prediction that I think we could potentially see. There's a Rogue Squadron movie with Patty Jenkins. I don't know how much they described. I could see, if they're referencing Operation Cinder now, I could see Rogue Squadron, which should be just rebel fighters. I could see that maybe tackling Operation Cinder from the rebellion side of things. But I actually think it might be cool because we get an angle from an Imperial in Battlefront 2. It would be maybe cool to see the eyes of like a Mayfeld who doesn't agree with it and is the one really impacted by it. But that's Operation Cinder, and Burning KONN was one of the planets like that had a lot of this take place. So You can definitely read more up on it in the Aftermath book series, but also the video game Battlefront 2 will give you a very playable way to figure out
You
what
literally
happens.
It's a fun level.
interactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Slave 1 Easter eggs. We already talked about the seismic charges. We talked about Boba Fett saying they might recognize my face. But the coolest part, hands down, was seeing inside of Slave 1. Was seeing inside of Boba Fett's ship, and not just the tiny angle we always get, where it's like from behind him, because they can only fit a small camera behind him. We saw everything. It's a big ship on the inside, but the coolest thing was it rotating, because obviously the ship takes off like this and then it rotates up and flies away, and you can see from the inside how it stays upright. I don't really know what the engineering is. Like, there's got to be a term. Some engineering guy's yelling watching this right now. Like, it's this.
It's like gyroscopically stable.
Yeah.
It's like a gyroscope, basically.
Yeah, and to see that rotate as they're talking, it was really fucking cool. It was neat. It was some.
I watched this way too early. I had no idea what was going on, and I was looking at the background of the ship like it was an optical illusion. I was like, "What am I? I have to look away from the screen so I don't get motion sickness right now."
Robbie Gonzo off the 3Chi trying to watch this.
It's a big ship. We see Boba take the helmet off and walk around in the armor with the helmet off. That was cool, but it was neat. We hadn't really seen inside unless you had like the visual dictionaries, which I love. What do they call that?
When they like slice the ship in half and they show you the inside
it's the
diagram
cross section.
style.
The cross section.
Yeah, cross section. Yeah,
those were my favorite Star Wars books growing up. So that was pretty neat. Thermal detonators. I think the first time we saw them was Return of the Jedi. Boba Fett was involved in that one too. When we had Leia in disguise with Chewie, brought a thermal. So thermal detonators have been a long part of Star Wars. They referenced the ISB, the Imperial Security Bureau, who we've seen those characters for a long time, and they've been in Mandalorian as well. The Rydidium, which I'm still not saying right. Clone Wars.
Ridanium?
Clone Wars and Rebels. Sabine Wren had mentioned before that they're incredibly explosive, so fans who heard that probably knew right away, like, these are going to probably blow up. Anti-aircraft cannons, and those guys always had the weird, like, shovel helmets in Star Wars. We saw them in this episode. Yeah. They didn't even get to fire anything off. They just got sniped right out of thin air. They didn't attempt to shoot. Shore Troopers were the next one. From Rogue One, which I loved because Shore Troopers never got a lot of shine in Rogue One, but they were, I think, one of the cooler. This is a tropical-looking planet. I'm sure there's beaches somewhere. I think there was. I think they were close to a beach in the last scene. I might be wrong. I might be imagining things. So the Shore Troopers are neat. If they're around, there's a beach nearby. There's some paradise nearby.
I love the Shore Troopers. I feel like they're like maybe my favorite variety of the Stormtrooper that's like new to the Disney canon or whatever.
The coloring, that beige and the red is so sick.
They really talked about TK numbers, which that dates back to the original TK 421. We had I almost said Van Halen, Valen Hess. The officer was like, "What's your TK number?" Mayfield knew his. Mando obviously didn't know what the fuck that even was. And then they also referenced TPS reports. This was trending this morning. They had TPS reports are real things, but they're most known because of Office Space. So they had a bit of an Office Space. Mayfield's like, let's go right at those TPS reports. Even Stormtroopers doing boring ass shit. They're doing tedious, mind-numbing, boring work throughout the day. Directed by Rick Famuyiwa. Robbie, you mentioned that. He directed 2 episodes last season. Most notably, kind of like the horror episode, like the Alien vibe episode on the prison ship when they broke out the prisoner when we were first introduced to Bill Burr's Mayfeld, and then the cameo Richard Brake played Valen Hess, the Imperial officer. We've seen him play a bunch of things before. He played the Night King in Game of Thrones, but also Joe Chill, Joe Chill from Batman Begins, and a bunch of other notable roles. But he was
in Doom. That's one I love him from, the old 2005-ish Doom movie with The Rock. He was one of the Marines that was like a pervert. It was a very funny role.
He has an Imperial officer look to him. He is made.
Oh, he has like the gaunt fucking. I was about to say Moff Gideon, Grand Moff Tarkin, like cheekbones. Yes. Yeah,
I got the same vibe. And the name, the Valen Hess, what a great Imperial name.
Oh yeah, I know, right? He's the founder of the Hess Empire, as everyone knows. That's why he's working on Ruthenium gas. I don't know if it was an Easter egg, but this episode felt a lot like the episode Bounty from Clone Wars, which is about Asajj Ventress teaming up with young Boba Fett to protect a convoy that's going like on this underground planet in like these crystalline caverns, and she has to protect him while they like get this cargo from one side of the thing to the other. Remind me a lot of that, and obviously Boba Fett is in this episode as well. So I don't know if that was a purposeful thing by Filoni, because he's reused a lot of the stuff that or major themes that he's done in Clone Wars and Rebels. But I don't know. It's the first thing that came to mind.
We'll fly through some audience questions. Those were the Easter eggs. Fly through some audience questions here. User on Reddit, that one, Randy, said Mando must have a big, gigantic entrance plan for next episode, right? Like he was saying, you can't, after that speech, you can't go in with a win. It can't be like a door knock, like, hey, we're here. You gotta bring the guns now because you've set it up where Moff Gideon thinks some shit's coming.
It's the Liam Neeson, like, I'm coming for you, like, I will find you and I will kill you moment. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hour-long ep, maybe hour and a half long ep. Who knows?
All right, that's not good. That's not. That would be we're talking crazy.
If they got like a half movie length movie, I would be more than ecstatic.
By the way, we don't know who the director is. I've seen speculation on the Star Wars Reddits that it's secretly George Lucas. I don't think that's happening, guys.
I will say though, that did come to my mind where I said if it was ever going to happen, this would be it. Like he would do this one, because I know he was on set. He had some input and he's been around, but. I don't hate that, but I don't think that's who it would be. It did come to my mind, though. I said, because I was thinking who it could be, and I could see it being Favreau, and I could see it being Filoni again. I could see it being someone like really big that they hid that nobody knows.
If I had to guess, it'll be Favreau. I think he'll take the finale.
Yeah, we'll see. But it hasn't been announced yet, which is surprising. It is surprising we don't know who did it. Maybe Robert Rodriguez got Quentin Tarantino to do it. Who knows?
Could you imagine? Holy shit.
At Nostradamus27 on Twitter said, will we get a Darksaber, lightsaber, spear showdown? Ahsoka. I don't know if we're going to see Ahsoka again, though.
I think especially after the series got announced.
Yeah.
After the series got announced, I think they're very much going to wait until that comes out to show her to us again. I think we might get the Mandalorian spear versus Darksaber showdown more than anything.
I think
else.
we have to. I also remember Giancarlo Esposito before the season doing interviews and being like, "Oh, you're going to see some Darksaber action in this season," and we haven't seen any of that yet, other than him, threatening Grogu with it. So. I mean, we have to see it in the next episode. I assume he'll slice someone up. You think Fennec Shan takes the fucking saber to the chest or something?
Someone's gonna die for sure with the Darksaber.
Yeah,
I'm a little worried it's gonna be Boba and they're gonna pass the slave one on to Mando, but I don't think they would bring him back just to kill him that quickly.
That would be crazy if they just fucking killed him. That would be crazy because I imagine that the Boba series the mini series is gonna be about him escaping the Sarlacc, or at least what follows after that.
I was thinking that, but you can't do the Boba series without him in the armor. I think it's if I had to guess, it's gonna be like the story of him escaping and slowly making his way to Mando, slowly making his way to the Cobb Vanth storyline, but then flashbacks of like Boba in his prime.
Yeah,
I think they're going to make a point of whenever Mando gets Baby Yoda back, and like Fennec Shand, if she doesn't die, Fennec and Boba Fett saying their goodbyes and saying like our oath is fulfilled now and we're out.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be like a big scene.
Yeah. At the real KVD said, does the Disney announcement day change any predictions? They announced like 10 new Star Wars. It was fucking crazy. Some things we hadn't known about before. Hayden Christensen come back as Darth Vader for the Obi-Wan series. That was wild. But does any of those change your prediction for the finale? I think one of them for me is I don't think we're going to see Ahsoka. The Ahsoka series is coming. I don't think we see Ahsoka.
Do you think maybe there's a chance some New Republic X-Wing pilots help out Mando here?
Yeah, because they announced that there's going to be a what is it?
Rangers,
Rangers of the New Republic.
Of the New Republic.
Maybe.
So I don't know. Maybe you want to incorporate more of those. Maybe you want to show that side of it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think we see Ahsoka. That'd be my prediction. Yeah.
That's
still think we're seeing a Jedi coming for Grogu next episode.
Yes,
I'm a little skeptical now, only because of the Mandalorian spear being now confirmed to block Jedi's lightsabers. Remember, our first prediction was that was going to be a thing, right? We're going to get that sort of showdown, Jedi versus Darksaber, Moff Gideon. But now, I don't know. Could be something they tease for season 2.
I do think we see a Jedi. I just don't know who. Ezra, I'm going to stick with Ezra, but I do think we see it. I think that's going to be the cliffhanger. I think we could end negative next week, too. I think we could.
I think Babu Frick comes back?
Someone also, we had a bunch of questions about Easter eggs for what species was the pirate, and it kind of looked like that one Jedi, Sassy Tin, the one who died at the hand of the Emperor, who put up no fight.
Worst fight.
I mean,
worst fight I've ever
all
seen.
of those guys were just horrendous.
Like that person was on the council for decades, going like, "Man, I hope they don't make me fight because I don't know what I'm doing." I don't think it's the same species. But that was the closest one, and Wikipedia usually pretty quick on that during post-Mandalorian recaps. They didn't have a species for it. So that when they don't have a species, that typically means it's a new one. But it looked most similar to that Jedi, which would be Ikachi, Ikotchi. So not sure.
Looked a little bit like Gore the God Butcher, like some versions of Gore the God Butcher to me, like the green version of him.
Going to be Christian Bale and Thor.
Very exciting, yeah.
Love and Thunder. Any final thoughts? Anything?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all.
Yeah, I don't really have too many predictions other than I hope that we get a conclusion that leaves us wanting more, which we always want out of a season end, but I also want to feel a certain sense of fulfillment, right?
All right, here's what I'm going to ask you guys going into the finale. Do we get Grogu back?
No, I don't think so.
You think dark ending, Empire Strikes Back ending?
Yeah, I do.
I think you're right.
Leaning that way as well, to be honest.
Yeah, now that you guys say it, I normally would have said, like, obviously he's going to get Baby Yoda back. And then now that you guys say that, I agree.
What better way to make people want season 3, right?
Exactly. Which they do on Christmas next year. We got to wait longer now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking hunt down Giancarlo Esposito myself, Moff Gideon.
Unbelievable. That's it. Next week, we will try to get out as quick as possible. It's going to be long as fuck, I'm sure. So I don't know when it's going to be out. But Mandalorian, the finale recap next week. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon so you know when we drop these. If you're watching the Barstool Sports website, thank you. Buy some Mandalorian merch. Not that one. You can't buy that one. Don't
Sorry, guys.
You can buy this. It's not Mandalorian, but it's
there you go.
Sports merch.
And it looks like you look like Baby Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda. Yeah, it's colored.
That's it for KenJac and Robbie Fox. I'm Jeff Lowe. We'll talk to you for the finale. Oh, man, next week in Mandalorian.